Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Motivational Morning. And this is part of Artcore's way of connecting us all together during our time in isolation. So, welcome to my home. My name's Marie, and I am a freelance artist. And today I'm going to be talking all about art and well-being and how I find it helps me and how it feels like art and well-being comes together. Art's always been with me every step of the way throughout life, and I've always found it's my therapeutic way of expressing my emotions as we go through life and experience all kinds of things and thoughts and feelings. And sometimes when I can't find the words to say, or I might not be ready to share how I'm feeling with others, I feel I can share it through my art. So it'd be really interesting today as you watch how art helps you and how you're creative in your everyday life. So it doesn't always have to be arts and crafts. That's my specialism and that's what I enjoy. But I also find creative activities comes throughout my home and in my garden. So any time where I can just feel I can lose myself and feel completely free from any other thoughts apart from what I'm doing in that moment at that time, it's like an act of mindfulness because you're only focusing on what you're doing there and then. So it could be planting new seeds, it could be painting a gate, it might be making a new recipe for dinner, experimenting with baking, the clothes we wear, how we decorate our house. So it's interesting the idea of what art is. And a friend of mine brought me a really lovely book, and I absolutely love it. It's called Hegarty on Creativity, and there are no rules, and I believe that. In life, there are many rules that we have to live by, and as they say, some are made to be broken. So, if I read a few little extracts in the book, it gives a little introduction on creativity and a little bit about what I've just spoken about. So, it shares with us how creativity touches all our lives in 1,000 different ways, from the clothes we buy to the buildings we live in, from the food we eat to the cars we drive. Creativity invents, perfects, and defines our world. It explains and entertains us. Almost every part of our life is influenced by it, and its impact is only getting stronger as time goes on. So it's not surprising then that we're always being told the future is creative. And I find that's very true in this time where we're all involved. Everyone around the world is experiencing living in isolation, but it's also heartwarming to know that we're in this together. So we have got an exhibition to talk about, and you can find out more on Artcore's Facebook page, but I'm part of it with over 57 artists from around the world. The exhibition's called In Isolation Together, and it was launched on the 10th of April, and it will continue online for a series of weeks, and it's broken into lots of different strands because there's so many artists. So the one that's currently online and that you can view is called Inside, Outside and In Between. And if you'd like to find out anything more about it, please get in touch. And also, during this talk today, I'll try and clock any messages that pop up on the screen, but please ask me any questions and share with me how art helps you in life and what does well-being mean to you. So this morning I was thinking, oh, do I write a script to help me? Because I know I can go off on a ramble. But I thought, no, just be natural again and just talk, see what springs to mind. So I thought of well-being as a well. They're quite symbolic because well-being is holistic. So you should always have a wholesome approach, because there's many parts of us that needs looking after, from our mental health to our physical health to our you know, how we are every day as a person, how we can be ourselves. So I think by looking at this wheel, this matches how my brain works, that, we experience all kinds of emotions that can come across in all kinds of ways, through the conversations we have, to how we're behaving, and it's really important not to be judgmental, and to be very allowing of adults as we are towards children. So if people are acting different, or think, oh, they're in a different mood today, then not judging that mood, but thinking, well, why is that? Because that aspect is a sign of something people are feeling inside. So I'll share with you some pictures that I've come across this morning. Just little random sketches that I have around the house, and this one captures how I love music and dancing and drawing and quotes. So this one reads, "Life is mostly froth and bubble, and two things stand like stone: kindness in another's trouble and courage in your own." So I feel when people express themselves through art, music, dance, movement, or drama, a lot of the time you can invest your thoughts and feelings, your values, and your beliefs through your work. And when you do it with emotion, you make connections with others. During my time in isolation, I've turned to my art. As always in life, I use my art when I'm happy. I go to my art when I don't know what I'm feeling. So sometimes you can just feel numb or a void. Sometimes you're just overwhelmed with emotions. Sometimes it might be frustration or anger. You could be upset. And this was inspired by a motivational morning by Carrie, and I did a collage of a lady looking at the world while she's thinking into space, and how the world is forever changing. And I think it's true throughout our lives, from the moment we're born, the world is always changing, and it can be a very frightening and unsettling time at the moment, but we know we can reach out and talk about our thoughts and feelings and use whatever it is to help us feel calm. So I've learned a lot of these skills over the years through my course in creative expressive therapies, learning how by expressing yourself, sometimes it can make you feel vulnerable because you've opened up, but also how amazing that can feel because it can uplift and release those feelings. And it's very important to acknowledge any feelings you have, and no feeling is bad or wrong, but it's also to have a fine balance. So for example, if you experience something that makes you feel sad, accept and acknowledge those feelings, but don't allow those feelings to consume you. So try and keep hold of the bigger picture in life and reach out to your support networks. So if it is going outside in nature, it could be going for a walk, it could be getting on the phone to somebody, friends or family. It could be having a cuddle with a fluffy family member. So if you have a cat or a dog, a hamster or a gerbil, we have a little black cat called Louis, not so little really, he's like the size of a little black bear, but you could just make little reminders around the house, little tags. So have a cuddle with a fluffy family member, because with our pets, we don't have to talk. They just have a sense of knowing, and it's very comforting. So the healing factor of the sense of touch, and that can be contact with another person in your house, or it could be, like I said, with an animal. So embrace that. Also, it's really interesting to try and make sense of the world at this time. So I help myself every day by having lots of positive messages around the house and plaques and quotes, and this one is one of my favourite from Alice in Wonderland, and it says, if I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense, because it's in my brain we try and make sense of things and things to be concrete, but things are always changing, so actually just let things go and don't worry about the things that we can't control. I have lots of pictures behind me and I don't know if you can read them, so I'll read some out. This little banner here says, go where you feel most alive. So whilst you're at home, if you're lucky enough to have a garden, you can spend some time in the garden, or maybe go for a walk around the area where you live, just to breathe in some fresh air, to see the blue skies and notice the flowers. And lots of people have been commenting, as there's less traffic and busyness around us, they're hearing more bird song and bees and noticing things in nature that sometimes in our busy everyday lives that we might not stop and take the time to notice. So really find a time to do what you want to do over the next few months and always. So this brings me to another part in my book. So if you just joined us now, I'm reading some extracts from a book I have called Hegarty on Creativity, and it says, if anyone would like to be creative, really deep down, is to find our own true voice. So finding your own truth and expressing it imaginatively is a skill we should all use and develop. And often when we find what it is that we're passionate about and enjoy, we find it will help us, show us the way. When sometimes you hear the sayings, you can't see the woods for the trees, sometimes things happen in life and it's hard to think or see with clarity. But I think if you surround yourself with things to help you at any time, and also ask for help if you're feeling stuck or alone, don't ever feel that way. Reach out to your friends, because it's a common ground experience. Everybody feels pain or sadness or anxiety sometimes, so always reach out and share that with others. So whether you're writing, painting, acting or designing, the truth simply expressed is the difference between it being meaningful or meaningless. So think about why you're creating. Here I've got a passage where it says the head versus the heart. So stop thinking and start feeling. Creativity is an intellectual process, but it's also one driven by the heart. An Irish writer, James Stevens, summed it up perfectly when he wrote, "What the heart knows today, the head will understand tomorrow." So, as humans, we're not robots. We're not supposed to know the answers all of the time, and we have to work through life because it's a puzzle. It can be a puzzle, but puzzles are fun, and that's how we learn. As a child, we learn how to put a puzzle together. We don't always get it right, the shapes don't always match, but keep trying and keep playing. Which brings me to another book, which, hello Kate, introduced me to a beautiful book. And I'm a mixed media artist, so I always tend to play with materials, and I do like to draw. But I like to draw in a playful way, so I don't want to be thinking, oh, is this perspective right? Is this the right shape? Am I drawing in the correct way, how I'm supposed to? And you can be quite critical of yourself as an artist. And I really like this book because it just shows you how to be really playful with shapes. And I think shapes are really interesting to play with, because if you was to draw an animal, you think, how do I draw their legs and their body, and how does it all fit in? Let's just have a go, have a play, and see what happens. Going to see if I can find some more pages where I feel inspired by. Also, just closing your eyes and letting your mind wander. So if you're listening to music, the sound of the music, how that influences how we draw. Sometimes draw with your non-writing hand and see what happens. Have little squiggles. You could make blobs or marks on the page and just see what happens. What else have we got in here? I'm just having a quick flick. So as I like collage, ooh, maybe this could be something you also do today. Let's see, trying to get it on the screen. There we go. So that's playing about. You could have junk mail come through the post. You might have old leaflets and flyers or bits of paper. So you could cut out lots of shapes, lots of random shapes. And don't worry, they don't have to be perfect. They can just be circles, they could be blobs, they could be triangles, and then mix and match. See what happens if you throw some ink on the paper and some watercolor paints, and see how it all runs in together, see what's created, and just let your mind free. So what helps me keep my mind free is my art, which I go back to a lot. And I came across another little doodle I did a while ago. Let's see. So that's a little sketch of me. And I had wrote, this was back in July last year, holding on to what keeps me grounded in the midst of change. And these things are gratitude, love, being in tune with my inner rhythms, and having a bigger perspective on life. Because to begin to imagine we are but stardust in our galaxy is truly mind-blowing stuff. So that little doodle was after I went to visit the National Space Centre in Leicester, and it's just amazing. I like feeling really small at times, so if I was to go out for a walk in nature and to see a vast landscape around me, I like feeling like a little speck on the planet. And that's how I felt after visiting the Space Centre, because it's such a mind-blowing thought to imagine how big the universe is, that and I'm just a little part of it. So I've got some ideas that you could maybe try out if you wanted at home today. Some things that I've done in workshops in the past with people, and this was a very popular activity, words for a permission slip. So giving ourselves permission to explore, to take risks, to say maybe, to say no, be stupid, stop when I've had enough, be who I am and speak up. So you could decide what you would like to do, and this could be done with children or adults, and you can just find lots of different papers with lots of different background and give yourself permission to do whatever you want to do and be whoever you want to be. Let's see. Other ideas is to make a collage maybe. So often I've heard people say, I'm not an artist, I can't draw, but if you can cut, you can collage. So if you've got different types of paper at home, you could cut out lots of shapes and just arrange them in any way. And they can be completely random. You could have a man next to a cockerel. It could be different perspectives. Again, you could draw out lots of circles and you might find an image of a person or an animal you might like to place next to. If you like music, you can make a piano out of lots of strips of paper. And just see what happens with the scraps of paper, putting them together, maybe with different textures, and seeing how it all works together. So in a few weeks' time, I'm going to be back again and talking during the afternoon session. So I'll be showing people lots of different tricks, things to try at home for people of all ages and abilities, like blackout poetry. Hello, Ray. And just trying things out. So again, remember to look at Artcore's Facebook page, all about the online exhibition, and I hope you all take care, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for listening. Bye.